Okay, so when we started this exercise, this was spaces and gatherings, and we said, how do we go beyond just webinars to actually bring action on ground? One of the reasons this pandemic has happened is also because of our lack of looking at things at the longer term. When you say rational kind of whatever, I mean, the results of what we haven't done has been clearly shown in the last 3 years, 4 years, and beyond. And I mean, we all know what is happening in terms of coffee production going down in Coorg, in terms of oranges like kind of rotting in Maharashtra, and etc. etc. Thanks to, I mean, one part being climate change. Um, so I mean, in that sense, there's no irrationality to me to do what I'm doing. But coming back to WOW and why we started this was to say, hey, we have this opportunity, we have these tools of webinars and like Zoom and whatever else to kind of um, catalyze some kind of action. What that action is, we were also not too sure in the very beginning. And then we said, okay, let's take low hanging fruit, and let's say, okay, I mean, 1,000 crores of water, even in Bangalore's larger kind of space, is not a big deal. It's hardly a week's worth of water supply. But we said, okay, let's just try and do something to create action on ground with a virtual space like this. That was the original seed of this idea, right? And we were struggling. I mean, you know what we were doing. Usha knows what we were doing. Shivani was part of the first initial round of conversations for this before we even began. And then when we started, and then Usha came in, and then we said, I mean, there was despondency through and through, at least for the first 3 months, in terms of not getting action on ground. But we persevered, and the result of this conversation is the result of that kind of perseverance. And the only what do I say? The only thing I can say is to endure and persevere to get this action on the ground. At some point, I'd said something about this beautiful failure, even if we don't reach 1,000 crore liters, we've reached 500 crores liters. We've reached about 550 crores liters last year, and even if we reached half mark, that itself is a great beginning to something we didn't even know would start off from the ground. So, I mean, saying that, I think, like, I mean, what we need to do from here on is to endure and to persevere and to see. I mean, WOW has now moved to 3 cities when we didn't even know if we were going to take off in one city, and it's going to move to 2 more cities soon. And we've got leaders like Mary here, we've got leaders like Indrani here, and like Suresh Pai, and all these people who came in just for their own conviction that this is something that can be actionated and is actionable. And so, not to kind of put WOW down in that sense. I mean, we haven't made a large impact yet, but we have the tools and the people to get to some lasting impact.